Time to check in on my little garden here. Here we've got the pepper plant. Still kind of ambiguous. It's not dying and it's not growing a lot either. So hopefully it will start growing more. And then over here we've got the big tomato plant that I transplanted. And it's doing so-so. I did have to take off some bad stuff, but the stuff that's left looks like it's doing okay. And then we've got those little tomato plants that were stuck in the little cup for a long time. They seem to be doing pretty good. They're looking pretty healthy over here. Over here in the shady most of the day, but not all the time, we've got some greens. I just basically threw these seeds on the top. They're taking off quite well. And then over here is where I planted dill, and I don't know if it's coming up. This here could be grass, or it could be dill. There is a similar looking one here, and over here. Not sure if this is in focus, but so I'm seeing that same sort of thing growing in a couple places. So it could be the same weed growing everywhere, or that could be what I planted. Over here I planted a bunch of radishes all in a row, and they're all coming up like crazy. I actually planted 2 rows, so we got another row over here. So I think those radishes are going to be good. Those only take a month or so. They'll be ready to eat in no time. Over here we got our friend from Is It a Weed or Is It Corn? It is definitely looking like corn to me. It's growing pretty fast and getting pretty big. I planted a lot of corn, but not much has come up. I think this here is another corn. And I think this over here might be a corn. And I think this here might be a corn. Now, 2 days ago, this was nibbled down to the nub by somebody. I don't know if it was a rabbit or a deer or who knows, all sorts of critters here. Somebody ate the top off, but it seems to still have enough energy left that it's continuing to grow, so hopefully that one will go. One concern I have is these corn are so spread out, they may not cross-pollinate properly, so I might have to dig some up and move them closer together. Over here is the onion bulbs that I planted. They were, full-size onions that I got from the store that I waited too long to eat, so they were already starting to sprout, so I just put them in the ground, and they've really taken off. I'll be able to harvest some of the greens for eating, and then I'll let the rest go to seed. Maybe there'll be a little onion patch here next year. You may remember not that long ago, all these blackberries had a bunch of beautiful white flowers on them. Those didn't last very long, but now if we look, we've got all these little berries forming. So if we get enough rain, we should have a ton of berries this season. Fingers crossed. So I got this all laid up. There's definitely nasty parts. This fiberglass tape, the way it's made is it's kind of just one long string. And so if it starts to unravel, it just keeps unraveling. And then your hands are all covered in goo. And how do you cut it without getting the fiberglass or without getting the epoxy all over your tools? I end up going through a lot of gloves here to put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I went through 5+ pairs of gloves. It's a very wasteful process. It's one of the things I really don't like about working with fiberglass. It worked really well, but there's a lot of waste involved, and it just doesn't have that same joy that, say, woodworking has, where you get the feel and the smell. This is all about just dealing with chemicals and trying to do a good job. But I'm going to do it on this boat and the next boat, and then after that, maybe I'll try some traditional wood boat building. Last time, I laid up the fiberglass on these top 3 edges, and to prevent it from running so much, I tried thickening it with the 406. That did seem to work out well. This layout job came up nice, and my runs are definitely a lot more controlled than before. These here aren't really runs. This is actually just how far I spread it out. Before, well, you can't see it now, but before I had some pretty long runs coming down here. So putting just a little bit of that 406 in there to control the viscosity really helped do that layup on this vertical surface. The next step for taping is just going to be to do the edges here and in the front, but I can't do that yet because I haven't finished installing the centerboard trunk. So I was hoping to work on that today, but on the way here, I got distracted and started digging some holes. So I ran out of time to work on this today, which is unfortunate, but I'll be back hopefully tomorrow to work on it.